So some Republican senators recently visited Afghanistan, and they concluded that the U.S. needs to stay there indefinitely. That's great. So Reuters reports here, 15 years after an American-led operation toppled the Taliban in response to the September 11, 2001 terrorist attacks, President Obama is considering whether to maintain the current level of 9,800 U.S. troops or reduce it to 5,500 by the end of the year, as current plans call for. Lindsey Graham said this, "I cannot guarantee success if we keep 9,800, but I can ensure you failure if we go to 5,500. I will have a hard time supporting our continued presence here as it's not fair to those left behind. They just can't do the job. If we go to 5,500, this place will fall apart quickly." Okay, so let's respond to this here. First of all, the resurgence of the Taliban happened with us there. So this idea that we need to be here to save the civilians. But hold on, it wasn't that long ago that we bombed a hospital and killed massive numbers of civilians. And after the fact, our response was, whoops. So obviously we need to stay there. We have to protect civilians in, say, hospitals. Except that's who we bombed. And the resurgence of the Taliban happened with us there. So I don't buy Lindsey Graham's logic or lack thereof. The second thing is, whenever we leave, I think it's going to get even worse. That's what's going to happen. So is that an argument to stay there forever? Because that would be the counter-argument. Okay, it's going to be bad no matter what happens when we leave, so I guess we stay there forever, but then we're wasting U.S. money and U.S. lives when we shouldn't be. We shouldn't be. And then also, understand Afghanistan is called the graveyard of empires, and it's called that for a reason. I mean, so many empires throughout history have just wasted resources and lives there to the point where it's like, whoops, we bankrupted ourselves because we couldn't stop staying there and fighting. It's just not a good idea to stay there, man. Yes, there's going to be hardships. Yes, there's going to be a downside. Yes, there's going to be resurgence of many bad groups when we leave, but it happens already with us there, and then the counter-argument is just we got to stay there forever in order to, fight these groups off. And remember, Lindsey Graham and John McCain, who were at this event, what they say is, well, yeah, but come on, what are we, barbarians? We have to fight off Sharia. The Taliban wants to implement Sharia. But that's a curious argument to make when the United States just let Brunei into the TPP, the new trade deal. Brunei just implemented Sharia law in 2014. So they just implemented it, and instead of the U.S. saying, whoa, we're going to sanction you because you're supposedly our ally and you just implemented Sharia and you're oppressing women and gays and people in your country, that's crazy. We patted them on the back and said, get in this trade deal and make more money. Strengthen your regime, which just implemented Sharia. So it's not about human rights. It's not about altruism. It's not about humanitarianism. It's, unfortunately, our policy is based on the same thing every empire's policy has ever been based on. It's based on business as usual. It's based on a power struggle. It's based on the status quo. It's based on corporate dominance, corporate hegemony. There's a lot of minerals in Afghanistan, for example, that are used to put into our cell phones, for example. The opium crop there. There's a lot of stuff that goes into this behind the scenes, just like Iraq. There was a lot with oil involved in Iraq. There are other reasons why people want to stay there. It's got very little, if nothing, to do at all with humanitarianism, and our actions prove it. So if you really want to be honest about this, guys, for John McCain, Lindsey Graham, and the rest of them, just say it. I want to stay there forever. At least be honest about it. And actually, I'm saying that, but Lindsey Graham did literally say that once, so hey, at least we know where you stand. And I will be crystal clear, I do not stand with you.
How do you get out?
You don't get out. You don't get out.
So that's what you have to set up the country for. Is that, guess what? We're never going to get out. We're going to have to manage the Middle East militarily. I was just going to say,
yes.
You believe you have to manage it the way we've managed Japan and Germany.
I think you have to be involved in the Mideast militarily, politically, economically.